Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always thank you for the support. I really do appreciate all the support you've been giving me. And I noticed the other day we tipped over the 500 subscriber mark, so you know, that's amazing. So thank you so much. Honestly, it's just more than I ever thought. I thought it'd just be family watching this, so I really do appreciate that support, like I say. So I'm going to be playing with All Hallows Eve today. I've got the elegant daisy chain, I've got the dies, the stamps, the embellishment pack, the embossing folder, and I've also got elegant daisy chains. Okay, so I've got a cute little card for you today. So it's a bit of an interactive one. So we're going to do some inking for the main part of it first of all, and then I'll make up the card blank, the mechanism, and hopefully the inks will have dried by then. Okay, so I'm going to start at 2 notches under the 6 and 2 notches under the 6. I am doing a 6x6 card, but this could be any size card you like. And then I'm going to start this second piece up 4 inches, and I'm going to do 2 notches under the 6, but we will be trimming that down at some point as well. And the other thing I need to tell you is another thing that I'm going to be using is from the Stamps and Stencil subscription box. I'll bring that just quickly in. I'm not quite sure what number it is. Oh, here we go, 51. Box 51. And it's going to be the stencils out of that. So it's the only moon that I've got. Okay, so let's start on these bases. So I'm going to bring in that moon. I've put a little bit of stick and spray on just to make it a little bit tacky, and then we're going to put that up in this corner. I was spraying when I was practicing this card with acrylics, and it has sort of stained that stencil, which is quite cool because now it's a lot easier to find. Okay, so I'm going to come in first of all with the all of the inks are the water reactive ones, and I'm going to come in first of all with Grasshopper, which is the lightest green that I have. And again, I'm going to use my little blending brushes that I got from AliExpress, and I'm just going to bring that in, and I'm just aiming to get a covering on the card, and I'm just using the normal 300 GSM card that I use for my normal card making. Just bring it in a little bit of tissue there, just to stop getting my hands on it. This is going to be the lightest of my colour, so I'm aiming for it to be lighter in the middle, although I am putting a good amount of colour on. And I am going to be putting a darker green on top of this, so we will be blending it through. So I'm just going to give that a good blend round. And you could go, so this is obviously a Halloween night sky, but you could go with your purples, with your blues. It doesn't have to be green. I just thought it was cool. I saw a card that Nicole Spohr, S-P-O-H-R, I think her name is, and she made a lovely card last year actually, using the oxides. And I really like the green on it, so that's why I wanted to do my own green background. Just checking, is that one I've just used? Yes, it is. So this next one is the next darkest that I've got. Actually, it's the only next darkest green that I've got is Pine Tree. And I'm just going to come in and we're going to darken those edges up. I'm even going to bring some into that middle. Around. And I'm not worrying that I've gone quite heavy there, because I am going to be doing some stenciling on top of this, and plus we are going to be doing some other techniques as well to really change this into a really nice piece of card. So just bringing that round, just add a bit more in that corner. Okay, just add, blend a bit on there. Just okay. And then I'm going to bring in some Noir Black. And this is when it really sort of starts to change a little bit. So let me just put a good amount on there actually, because we are going to go all the way around. And I'm just going to bring that in. It's really going to make this real moody. So I'm just going around working all of this black in, especially around that moon. Just pick up a little bit more. Just working it into my brush and then working it onto my page. So, like I say, you can go really as dark as you like. We really want that sort of moody shadows. Not so much important at the bottom, because this will be hidden by another panel. But that is that. Okay, so let me just move that out of the way a second. I'm just going to bring in some spray and a bit of spare roll. And we'll just clean that away. Cleaning that is looking cleaner than when I started, so that's always a good sign. Okay, so sticking with this piece for now, what I'm going to do is just come in, there's a little bit of water on my hand, just because I found yesterday that the splatters were all coming off a little bit more droppy than I wanted. Okay, so I wanted sort of quite a fine drop, so I'm just putting them on my fan brush onto my hand. And then I just grab another piece of that roll. I'm going to blotch that off. Give that faux bleaching. There we go. So we'll keep those to hand because we will need those again. Let's move that out of the way. And then the next thing I'm going to bring in is my sparkle overlay pen. And I'm going to bring in, I use my scissors. I'm just going to tap this on. I'm just aiming for little splatters to go on in different places. So I want that just to give that air of something a bit magical. Okay, and then last step, properly. So I've got my white acrylic pen, and remembering it does tend to spray that way. Just check that's working, bear with me 2 seconds. Yeah, it is. Just not looking like there's as many splatters as the other day. Now I've got a big one there, but I won't worry about that. And if I grab a piece of tissue before that ends up going everywhere. And then lastly, we're going to do the same with this black. This black, there's a real, I don't know whether it's just this pen, but it's got really fine dots. I'll bring it up to the camera in a second. So let me bring that up, and hopefully you can see that real fine black speckle on there. And then I'm going to take this moon off, which you can see is very, very white. And it's just got a little bit of adhesive there. So we're just going to move that out of the way. And then I'm just going to bring in one of my greens. Let me just check it's the lighter one. Yeah. I'm just carefully just going to blend it over. Okay, so it has picked up on the glue a little bit there, but I think that kind of makes it look a bit more moonish. Okay, so that's that piece done. So that's our background. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just fast forward and do exactly the same on this. There is another step I want to do on this, but I will come back to you when I've got to this stage, or near enough that stage on here. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, so I've got this piece where I've put the grasshopper and the pine tree on, and now I'm just going to come in with a little bit of Friar Brown, because this is going to be the front of my card. I want to add a sort of dirty looking, but this is going to be the ground where our tombstones and everything are, so I just want to make that slightly different to the all green of that sky, or my background really. So I can come in quite heavy, just adding that in. Okay, and then I just mop that out of the way. And then we're going to go back with our Noir black. So again, coming round. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is exactly the same as what you saw me do just now. I'm going to do the water droplets, I'm going to do the sparkle overlay pen, and both the black and the white acrylic. Okay, so that's where we're at the moment. So I'm going to bring the stencil out from the All Hallows Eve embossing folder and stencil set, and I think there is another stencil as well. Maybe not. Nope. Okay, so I was playing around with other stencils. Yes, there is another stencil. Bear with me 2 seconds. Let me see, what have I done? It is the ghosty one, I think. Yeah. It was this one here at the top. Okay, so this is going to be more of our background, and then the brownie one is going to be more of our foreground. Okay, so I've got my little blending tool, I've got a dauber, and this time I'm going to be using jet black water reactive ink. If you want a darker look, you can do like do the stenciling through a just grab an ink pad with the ink that we can emboss with, so that means that you can then use some black embossing powder, or if you're using the black opaque ink, you can go in with clear embossing powder on top of that. Okay, so like I said before, we've got that little bit of glue that I wasn't liking on the moon there. It doesn't look too bad. It's just annoying me a little bit. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is try and get rid of some of that, and I'm going to do that, I think, with 2 of these bats. And the reason why I'm only doing 2 is because I want to use one of the die cut bats on there. So let's just put some tape over there so that we don't get ink where we don't want it. Okay, so let's just go over the main part of that. Like I say, I don't mind so much. Just gonna take one of those bats out. I'll take those 2, and I'm gonna come in with my dauber, I think. We're just gonna I can't. Let's try this instead. There we go, that's a bit better. And I'm going to go over it a couple of times because I do want that to be quite dark. Let's have a look at that. Well, that's looking pretty cool. So I did experiment with some of the branches from that box 51, the subscription box, but I didn't really like the way they look. I thought they looked a bit I'll show you at the end the little samples that I made, and then I'll explain what I mean, but I thought they looked a bit too clunky. I wanted something a bit delicate. And the other thing I did see on actually AliExpress that would have been lovely with this is they have a foil lightning bolt, and I thought that would be really cool on these cards. So I'm just going to come across that edge a couple of times, and some will be darker than others, and I kind of like that because it's going to be the sort of distance. So I do want some to come over this moon, but I don't want it to interfere with those bats. So, and like I say, you can go as light or as dark as you like. The only real important thing is to try and keep your stencil still while you are going through it. So down here I'm going to be careful not to put my fingers in it. And this is when I think if I had a misty, and not a misty, a waffle flower, stencil holding mat would be pretty cool. Just gonna go along there. So this tree is going to be bushes. It's going to be everything really. Just gonna put a little bit more in there. And I think, yeah, because a lot of that is going to be hidden. You're probably not even going to see that. Let's do another bit down from the top. And if you wanted to, what you could do is clean your stencil off in between and flip it over, and then you'd get the branches going the other way, for a little bit of variation. Okay, so I'm going to stop there with that one, and pop that to the side, and that's that. So that's all I'm going to be doing on that one. So we'll pop that to the side and that can dry. So this one, so making sure I've got the brown at the bottom, I'm going to pop this on that bottom there, and then I'm going to come through all of these. And if you think you're going to hit the top bit, then do put a bit of tape there I'm just going to be super careful. Just go across this border. That will pick up those red tones as well from that brown, so but that's going to be fine. And then I'm going to come along, just going to complete that. And I can see where I've come up a little bit from that black, but what I'll do is just blend my black underneath. There we go. So what I can do is just bring that black in. I would just bring it round. And if I want to go a little darker, put that stencil there. Fill in a bit of that gap there, so that's fine. Okay, and I can see I have come through there a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about that. We will be putting bits on. I'm not sure if you can really see. Oh yeah, you can see it on the camera, just a little bit of shadow in there where I've picked up on there. So let's pop that to the side. Do I want to do anything else with this? Do I want that tree in on here as well? Just to tie those together. Actually, I think I will. So let's just bring that there as dark as I can, because this is at the front. And a bit there. And some of that will get cut off anyway, but we may have to ink around some of these edges as well, because that will be cut at an angle, but we will worry about that a little bit later. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just clean up my mat and give my hands a good wash, so bear with me. Okay, so now we're going to start on our card base. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I've got some jet black card here, and I think I'm going to need to use 2 pieces. So I need to cut the first piece 8 by 6, and then the second piece is going to be, actually I might be able to use this. Let's see, how wide is that? No, that is a little smaller than I wanted, so we will save that for die cutting. So we're going to start with a piece that is 4 and it's going to be by 8. Okay, and I will need to do another piece later, but we'll do that when we are assembling. So from these pieces that we have cut, we are going to score at 1 and 2 inch, and that's on the 8-inch side, and then here again 1 and 2, and then we can just go ahead and give that a burnish down, and same on this one. Okay, so let's move that out of the way. Actually no, we won't move that out of the way. I'm going to bring back my trimmer, and from this black card I'm going to cut a piece which is 1/2 inch plus 2 notches. Let's save that bit. And then I'm going to bring it in my pencil, and the length at this point doesn't matter, I'm going to be cutting it down. So I need to put a little mark on the top at 1/2 inch and 1 notch on the hunky dory board, and then 1 inch plus 2 notches on the hunky dory board. And what I'm going to do is put that first notch at the top and my corner notch there and score, and then I'm going to put my second notch on the top of my pyramid, and then we're just going to fold those in and burnish those down, so you'll have a piece that looks a bit like an arrow. Okay, so at this point I'm going to cut it down to, let's say, it's probably about 3 inches, and I'm also just going to take a little piece along and make it a little bit thinner. I'm doing that with the scissors because it's easier than doing it on the trimmer. Okay, and that's going to be our mechanism. Okay, so before I do any assembling, I need to bring in that daisy die that I had. And the reason why I decided to use that is because it's got all of these fancy edges on it. So if I pop that out, and I think I did on the other one, I did a slightly different shape. I'm wondering whether I should go with this one. Let's have a look. Don't know. Can't make up my mind. Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll do it, and then it's different to the other one. You'll see both effects then, I suppose. So that will be nice. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just line this up as best I can. So I don't mind if it comes down. Actually, let me just check I have got that the right way around. So it needs to be that way. There we go. So I think we'll go. Like so. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that into my Gemini. We'll pop that through. And that's going through my Gemini 2. If I turn it on, there she goes. This is a little noisy today. Okay, so let's bring that out. And that. And then what I'm going to do is put that die back in there straight away before I lose it. And then from here I'm just going to go straight across. We are going to be decorating the sides, so at this point it is not so important. So what they look like. So I think that's probably going to come a little high, so we will trim some more off. Let me just pop that in. I don't want it to cover up my moon. Yeah, so we're going to come down. I'm just going to take another little piece off that. And I'm going to take that. I'm going to take another inch off it. So if you wanted to start that at 3 inches, you can do. Or you can wait till you've cut the edge. You could even keep it straight if you wanted. And I think that should be quite a nice fit. Okay. Right. So for the assembly. So because I am doing a printed panel on the inside, it's going to be better for me to pop this on now. So let's bring in our all-purpose glue, and ideally you would let all of these inks to dry overnight, maybe even put them in a book to flatten them down. Obviously I want to get through the video, and I didn't get as far as doing a spare one for this. I think it's difficult to do beforehand unless you've got an idea of how you want to be assembling the actual card, or, you know, because different days you'll find that you do different inking, so it is a bit of a strange animal really. Okay, so this next piece we are going to stick onto here, so this piece here, and I'm going to go ahead and use tacky glue because I want that to stick nice and strong straight away. And we're going to pop that on, so we're just lining that up hopefully so it's nice and straight, and then we can fold it over. Okay, and then when it comes to this piece here, so the only place you're going to put any glue is on this flap here. Okay, so this long piece, this flap with the long piece, you don't put any glue on there, you don't put any glue on the back, you just put it on this triangle side on there. Okay, so we're just going to glue that into our card now. We're going to pop our glue in. Okay, so we've got our arrow pointing to the left, but all of our things are tucked underneath, and I'm just going to pop that in up to that line, and I'm going to give that a good press down, remembering only to glue on that one triangle. Okay, so there should be movement there. Okay, so we're going to leave that to set for a moment. Okay, now the other thing I want to do, just turn that over while that sets. So I'm going to bring in my piece here, so we know we want to cut it down. So what I'm going to do is, just to make sure that I get the angle right-ish, I'm going to tuck it underneath. I'm going to move that over just a tad, because that is where it will be. So I'm making sure I can see it at the bottom, but I do want it to be roughly in between, and I'm putting a pencil line, I'll rub that out in a minute, across there. So we know I've got to take a little bit off there because I've put it to the bottom of this, but that's our guide for where we need to cut this. So if I bring in my tape, I'll reuse this bit. So I'm going to put that to the tip of the line that I've drawn so I can see it all. So hopefully I should have the right angle. I'm hoping my ink is dry enough. Actually, let me move that over a little bit, so just in case the pressure does make the tape take my ink off. So we'll pop that through super quick. And it is making a lot of noise, my machine, and the reason it's doing that is because I have changed my plate combination. So I was watching a video with Kathy. Kathy Makes a Card is the one that I've been watching, and they use the double-sided plates with the white plates, and then obviously it cuts into those double-sided plates, so slightly less pressure so that the plates don't bow, and you can see how straight they are. You can see I've cut into that quite a few times. So you keep one plate clean, you cut into one side, and then when that's totally, you know, had it, turn it over, cut into the back, and then you throw that away. And the reason why I thought I would try this, there's two things really. Number one, hopefully it's going to keep my plates nice and straight, so they will last longer. But also by cutting it into that double-sided plate, and that's the one that gets thrown away, so that's cheaper. That you get two for about £10, I think. So that's cheaper than replacing the white plate. So that's why I decided to go down that route. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this over, and you can see when the card opens up, this pops up. So that's going to be our surprise element. So I'm just popping this on, just making sure, and I do need to trim a little bit off the bottom. So it's very hard to get to sort of guess that without until you start putting it together. So I needn't have worried about all that black at the bottom, but we won't worry about that at the moment. Okay, so I am very happy with that. Okay, so let's pop that down. So I'm keeping, at the moment we've got the stick is way too long for what we are going to need. So I'm not worried about that in a minute. So when we start to come to put in our little element on there, that's when I'm going to worry about that length on that. So I'm just going to use my all-purpose glue, and we're going to pop this piece onto here, and then I'm going to fold that in, and I'm going to pop some, I think I will go on this side, so tack glue on here just so I don't go higher than it is, and then we're just going to bring those down to match. Okay, so I can see my has come out a little bit. We'll just smush that away. Okay, so there's our card. Just going to give that a good burnish down. Okay, so we got our okay, so that is our card base done. Obviously we are going to put a little bit of something on here. I think probably papers. Probably should have done that before I glued it down, to be honest. Probably maybe too late. Let's see. Yeah, it's too late, so it's not a problem. What I will do is I will get a piece of paper and pop that on in a second, and we will find a way around that. Okay, so now we need to come to the exciting bit, which is the bits that go on the card. Now I have cut a few pieces beforehand of dies, but I do need to do some others. So let me grab my dies. I want those ones, and I want that one, and that's that for now. So from the Wicked Witch, I want the cat and the bat in the black. Let's grab some tape. Actually, we could probably get away with using this much smaller piece of card. Yeah, so there's my cat. I have got another one cut because I do want to have him quite chunky. And then from this one, we want our wee ghosty. Let's put those the way, and another little piece of tape, and there goes our ghosty. So put that in, and the only downside I've found from this plate combination is that it does seem to be a little noisier, as noisy as the old one. It's squeaky. I think it's because of that green plastic plate just squeaking, so it's not doing any harm to the machine because it's a slightly thinner sandwich, if anything, which is probably why the plates are not bending. But alright, let's pop those there. Let's put that there. I don't think we need Gemini anymore, so that can be turned off. Okay, so we'll start with my ghosty. Now I did cut one out of black because I wanted the eyes and the nose. There's the eye. And actually I might not need those because I've done that in the black. Yeah, okay, that's, I hadn't thought that through. When I did it before, I did it on a white stick because I started with a white base. But because I've got my black stick on this one, I don't need to worry, the black bits will come through. So let's just pop that out. I don't think I'm going to be using that. I am going to be using the cat, and I've got another cat there, and I've got 1, 2, should have another bat there. Okay, so I'm going to keep that tombstone back for now. I might use it, I might not. I want to try using the stamp one with a Boo to You message on. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of tacky glue, oops, over my cat, which is now fallen on there, which is annoying. I'm just going to pop that on, match it up nicely. So it's just going to make it just that little bit thicker. And then these bats, we can go ahead, we'll just angle those wings up. Go up there. And again, just giving them a little bit of definition. There. I kind of feel like bats are a bit like butterflies really, but nighttime butterflies. There we go, and then I'm going to have one on that view. So he is in the foreground, and then if I pull my so I'm just going to make a little bit of a mark across there. And then I can cut that off, because obviously we do want to see his features, or ghosty features through. So just putting a nice amount of glue on, and then popping that on so that we've got him there. And then the other thing you need to make sure of is when he folds down, you can't see him underneath or at the sides. And there's our ghosty. Ooh. Boo, boo. Lots of fun. Okay, and a little cat I might have, then he's walking on nothing. I don't know what we'll do with the cat yet. We will think about that in a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just pop that to the side, and we will grab a stamping platform, and I'm going to take this piece of black card. Hopefully it will be big enough for what we want to do. Up there. If we bring in the stamp set, we'll start with this. So I am going to cut round it, so smooth it up a little bit, I think, just to make sure that stays down. And we'll pick that up. Just going to give it a bit of a rub, just to move any coatings off. And I'm just going to grab some ink. Okay, so I've just got some clear embossing ink, translucent clear, And I'm just going to pop this onto there. Let's just put that lid back on. And we'll bring that down. Give that a good press. What I should have done is use my anti-static, but we'll hope for the best. That does look like it has taken quite nicely. So I'm going to bring in a piece of paper. And I've got some of this. This came in one of the lucky bags. This is from the reindeer collection, and it's silver embossing powder. It's quite full. And because I've forgotten to use that anti-static pad, just going to move these bits out of the way. It's just to give me an idea of where to cut, really. Okay, so if I put that to the side, disaster waiting to happen. There we go. So that is in there. Give that a shake in a second. I'm going to bring back in my heat tool, and while that's just warming up, so I'm not really bothered about anything around the outside because we are going to be cutting it out. It's just really for the shape of it. So I'm just going to go around and melt that powder. Hopefully without, it's nice silver as well. Hopefully you can see all of that. Okay, so I'm just going to turn that off. We'll pop that back in. Leave it on that. And then if I grab my anti-static brush, because we are going back in with the sentiment, just give that a good dust over, and we'll take that stamp off, clean it later. And then the sentiment I'm going to go with is Boo to You. So that's going to go quite nicely in there. Just pick that up, give it a little bit of a wipe over just to help any factory coatings to, sorry you can't see that because it's opened up so far. I need a smaller one, but it's either show you the inking up or show you the stamping, and I'd rather show you the stamping. Okay, so that looks good. These magnets are very magnety. Okay, I'm going to come in with this silver again. I don't know how clear that's going to be. We'll try something else if this doesn't work. I really would like it to work there. It would be nice in that silver. Okay, so back in with the heat tool. We'll see what happens when we heat this up. I think it's very clear, to be fair. Let's have a look. So can you read that? Boo to You. Yeah, it's not brilliant, but I think it actually fits in with the theme of how we have done it. I think you could go in on some white card and do it that way, but I did want it to be sort of quite dark. Okay, so we're just gonna cut around it super quick, going round, and I'm sort of going quite close really. although I don't know how close I'm going to go in around this cross. A little closer than I wanted to. This is when you know this is not a professional video, this is just somebody crafting. I'm not a huge fan of fussy cutting, to be honest with you. It's we bought the scan and cut, me and Mum, so that we wouldn't have to do any fussy cutting really, but it's not set up, and it'll be really hard to show you as well, you know. It's sort of, and by the time it's just one thing, so by the time I would have cut it out actually. It's just not straight on that bottom, so by the time I would have cut it out, set it up, it would be too late. Okay, so let's pull our ghost out. So we're going to have our tombstone coming down here, and I think we need some foam pads, so let me just grab some of these craft companion ones. Just put a nice amount of foam on there. So I want it to look like our ghostie has come from there, so that is fine. Okay, so we've got our ghost, we've got our bootieu, and we've got our bats. I don't know if I really want the cat. I think maybe the cat coming along might be... No, I'm going to leave the cat off. I'm sorry. Cut the cat for no reason. Okay. So we need to do just, I'm not going to do any other sentiment because we've got the bootieu. It's just a bit of a fun card. So I need just 2 bits to come on here and along here. So let's have a little look at this piece here. Oh no, it's not going to do. Okay, so I do have, let me see, I do have piece that I started earlier before I remembered that I needed to put the moon in, so I've got to this part with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do just off camera, so I'll come back once it's done, is just cut this 2 sides. I can do that on camera, so we know that's 1 inch. So we want a piece that's going to be 2 notches under the one. Okay, so we've got a piece there, and then the other piece will fit on the other side, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, but what I'm going to do is just ink it up to match, and then I will use that die just to cut this this angle off, and then I can straighten it up on the other side. So I will just come back when that's done, so bear with me. Okay guys, so sorry, excuse me. So I've cut that bit, I stamped a little bat on it, bit of trees, I've cut that to size, and then the bottom bit I've just put a little tombstone, maybe a little bush that's going to go in there. I also took the sentiment in this kit, I've cut it in black, green and silver. Okay, so let me just give that, let me just stab my bottle because it's not coming out. So this is just going to be the final touches on this card, and I was quite excited when I decided to use this because there seems to be a big space there otherwise, which, you know, some people might like, but I just feel like it's a bit of a, it needed something. Oops. So I came up with this, so I'm going to just offset that on the black just a tiny bit, so I'm just pulling it off just a tiny bit to the right, and then I'm going to take my little cat and I'm going to pop some glue on the bottom of his paws, going to bring that in around about there. Give that a good press down. So while that's just, oops, let's just do that again. It's a little messier than I would have liked, but put that down there to set for a minute, and then we'll put that next layer on. So ideally what I would say is, before you glue this on, just glue this strip on all the way down. Just glue a strip all the way down. It will be look better, and it will be a lot easier, but I forgot about that. So of course I kind of have done it the harder way, and which means my colours don't quite match up as well as they would have done. Oh, I'm getting awful messy with this glue. Oh, come on now, CJ, and get it together. So I'm just brushing away that excess glue. With it being the all-purpose, it shouldn't stick where it isn't wanted. It just keeps coming out of the sides. So it just rolls up into little bogies and rolls away. Alright, so while that's doing, I think we used the tacky glue on this piece, and I did cut this a little bit shorter than it should have been really, but it'll be fine. Nobody is really going to see it. Alright, let's just, trouble is, the more I am pressing, the more glue's coming out. So there we go. So that's a little bit messier than I would have liked in the end. But hey ho, our glue still works. Okay. So the other thing we need to do is, if you've got a stamp, you can do it with a stamp. But I'm just going to put the word pull. So it's just our instructions, so that person knows they got to go get our ghosty up. Okay, and then just coming back to this one, we're just going to pop some more glue, which I'm going to do it on the back of my hand. Obviously be careful, test that you're not allergic in any way to these glues before you start putting it on your body. I know I am fine. I'm just offsetting that again, so we've got that black, we've got that green, and then we've got that little hint of moonlight on it, which I quite like. And then we're just going to pop that in along there. So again, with this tacky glue, we can only put it at the bottom because it is going to be coming up. But now our cat has got something to climb on, so I am super happy about that. So sorry it got a little bit messy at the end. And the other thing, just put that glue before I disappear. So there was just one other thing on the, the embellishment pack. Wasn't the ribbon we wanted. There's some cute little gems for the right colour. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to. But I just saw that they were the right colour. So I'm just going to pop 3 on here. And I'm picking these sort of grey-green ones really. Okay, now that is finished. Okay, so that is our pop-up surprise Halloween card with the Crafter's Companion All Hallows Eve. So hopefully you can have a little play with that. It's not been the cleanest card I've ever made, I'll be honest with you, but hopefully you've got the idea, and it's more the technique that I'm showing you rather than the actual finished card itself. And don't just think it has to be on inked card as well, because like with your hunky dory, if you did something similar with this, you know, with your image at the back or image at the front, you could always have your sentiment popping up. But it's just a bit of fun at the end of the day, isn't it? So you know, and we all, you know, there are those among us that do like to play with our cards, so especially younger people, you know, they would love to. You can sit and do that all day, really. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Again, huge, massive thank you for all the support. 500 subscribers, that's amazing. Just you know, not what I thought would happen at all. So huge thank you for that. Hopefully you know, we'll keep on going for as long as we can, really. So I mean, that's what we can do, really. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take care, see you next time. Bye bye.